세러데이 쇼다운 젠지 스포츠 대 디플러스 기아.
Very interested in how this one's going to go. And as a result, we're heading into champion select before the game once again.
I think that's one thing, is that bringing in players, I know we have seen Vikla been up for a while and Slayer, this can drastically change the dynamic of being KFX. We're hoping for the positive, but we'll see. Obviously, a lot of the times they have relied on this bot lane, on the powerhouse that has been Diablo, and the 2v2 excellence of the Diablo Kellen bot lane, but struggled recently. The team as a whole has struggled recently to replicate the success they've had early in the year. So, you know, it could end up they play better with a switch up.
Yep.
Even though I think losing out on Diablo and Daystar based on the recent performances, well, Daystar's recent performances and Diablo, his historic performances, feels a little bit rough.
Yeah. So we'll just have to see exactly why this has happened, and maybe BNK4X can demonstrate that with some good play here today. Caitlyn ban. It's weird.
Yeah, interesting. Pantheon still up and available, as is Orianna. So
I know why the Caitlyn was banned, because Slayer was destroyed by Smash's Caitlyn over and over again in Challenger, and so maybe you didn't like that.
A little bit traumatic, maybe?
Yeah, it might have been something like that. But maybe also just trying to open up something interesting for first pick, as D+ Gear did choose second pick, and so that means Pantheon, Jarvan, any of these things can be snapped away.
I think the Orianna ban makes sense, because you can, of course, trade these junglers. We're seeing a lot more priority on the Jarvan. You can just go Ezreal Pantheon here, to be honest.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need to pick up the Pantheon. We saw this last series. You don't need to pick up the Pantheon this rotation if you don't want to. You can save it for 3, but that does limit your flexibility a little bit, as you will want to secure a jungler before the next phase of bans. So if you lock in, you know, like your bot lane right now, that third pick, you're kind of unable to adjust to what BNK4X pick up. And I think the Ezreal we've seen all the time into the Jarvan.
Ooh.
And we know Smash is extremely good in the pick. We're going to start off with the Annie coming in for Showmaker.
They could do Annie Ezreal if they like to. Then you'd still be able to get Pantheon if you feel like it, but you wouldn't be able to lock in a full bottom lane and get your jungler.
Yeah. I mean, the only pairing we've seen regularly picked up with the Ezreal has been the Nico. That lane has not been working out so hot, but instead they go for the Lee Sin for Lucian. So not going for Pantheon, not going for Xin Zhao, going for the Lee Sin, the combo up the Annie, that point-and-click CC, guaranteeing the Sonic Wave. Definitely not the highest in prio picks on the patch.
Definite comfort, though, for these two.
Definitely comfort there.
Okay, Slayer's getting some priority here in this draft as the camera snaps back over to him. There is the Lucian Milio once again. Worked out pretty well for KRX earlier on today.
Yeah, and we have seen Slayer play this 3 times so far this season, the Lucian specifically. So pairing up with Emilio, obviously a lane that has a good amount of pressure, but also scales relatively well. I think people look at Lucian as a pick that struggles sometimes. The short range will be a factor, but the Emilio boosts you up quite a bit. The mid game, you have a lot of power. I think sometimes the Nami can struggle a bit more, the Lucian Nami, specifically because you can get exploded.
Yep.
Whereas you have like so much peel from the Milio, especially into an Annie specifically with a point-and-click stun.
Yeah, it feels fantastic to pick it up at that stage.
They go for the Jace here. It's a strong spot for Jace because you can ban Yorick Scion here, essentially, as D+. On the other side for BNK4X, I think you're banning 80 carries, just limiting things that can get outside of the Cataclysm. Ezreal makes a lot of sense. You could be worried about Nash Seraphine, but perhaps not. Like, you have a Cataclysm to deal with it.
Yeah.
Actually go for the Nautilus, which I don't think is that good of a pick.
Were you
in this
scared about the
situation.
Nautilus?
Like, Milio's really good at disengaging Nautilus. Jarvan makes Nautilus's game a little bit uncomfortable. And then the Anivia ban comes in.
So she not as frightened by the clear Scion in this game. And the Anivia will be the one taken away instead. This has actually been played into Scion top lane as well, has it not? Pretty sure it has. Sorry, into the Jace top lane.
Yes, it has. It was played into Jace specifically, so would have that flexibility option.
Okay, so Lulu going to be taken away from Korea.
Yeah, Lulu Yunara, pretty scary lane to play into, so limiting that, especially the sustain damage off that when this D+ lineup is a bit more Beerus focused. So now,
what's stopping you from just playing Ashe Seraphine? Does Lucian Milio lane well into it? Is that why they're happy to pick up line?
I think the concern is more the Jarvan.
Yeah, right, fair.
I think them being immobile, like at least with the Yunara, you can get outside of the Cataclysm with your ultimate. Some people would just play Corki here, but we've seen the Corki priority drop off a good amount.
Zeri can get out of Cataclysms.
That she absolutely can. Interesting to pick up the Zeri here, because although the Lulu was banned, the Yunara wasn't. And, you know, like Zeri Lulu's a thing, Yunara's Lulu's a thing, but the Lulu was banned. So you could still pick Yunara and pair with something else. So
yeah,
specifically going for the Zeri here, which has definitely been a lower prio 80 carry compared to the Yunara.
But Yuumi has been buffed.
It has been.
So Korea did have the debut Yuumi game here in the LCK. Most of us tried to forget. Let's see whether he can make up for it. I believe since then has actually found a bit of success on the champion, as K'Sante for Clear is going to be locked in as the answer to the Jace. Not exactly the most high-powered answer to Jace, but would be able to weather the storm. And let's see what Vikla has prepared into this Annie. Aurora would be the tier list choice. And let's see whether he does decide to go that way. Instead, it's going to be the Ryze.
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, we often talk about Ryze being a really powerful pick, but he's kind of been hamstrung by the likes of Anivia, Cassiopeia. But when you know your mid matchup, feels pretty easy to pick it up here. It is going to be that Yuumi coming through. And to be honest, I think in this game, BNK4X is feeling pretty good. You have the Ryze, who can obviously potentially look to move to impact the map more than the Annie can. The Jarvan has good targets to jump on. You know, both the Annie and the Jace can't get out of it. The Cataclysm without a flash. And the bot lane, 2v2, you should have a good amount of pressure in this matchup. Sometimes you can see Yuumi do a decent job of weathering the storm, making use of those triple combat sums, but for the most part, Lucian should have the pressure advantage. And K'Sante into Jace, you just farm up and be a tank. We've even seen solo kills happen for the K'Sante in that matchup, so...
And Clear has been gravitating towards K'Sante more often than not as well here in the LCK. So I think should be very comfortable up there on the top side. Like you were saying, I think a pretty stable draft here for BNK4X, but it's the players on the Rift that we have our eyebrows raised for. So we'll just have to see how they're going to go in their respective matchups. Eyes are going to be on Slayer mainly, as he is very new to this stage, but Vikla making his re-debut as well. Daystar has certainly been putting in the hours for BNK4X over the last week or so. So let's see what Vikla has in store for us as well into Showmaker's Annie, something that he's been gravitating towards a lot. Time for us to get into the Rift for game one. All right, D+ fans in full coordination here today at Chichitic Glow Park, but I heard some desperation in the BNK4X fan chants. Did you pick that up as well?
Yeah, I'm not overly surprised at that.
Neither am I. There has been some change. Desperate
position right now in the league, 2-6 already. You know, if they lose this series, they finish the first round robin 2-7. And you got to remember, not only do we have round 2, where your score is going to carry over to, but then when you go into Legend and Rise group, the score carries over there too. So every loss is permanent for the regular season throughout.
But so is every win.
That is true.
So if they do manage to pick up some victories here, it could be working out. But right now we can see T+ Gear just pushing in kind of every lane, and they should have early shove kind of everywhere. I think Annie's probably just fine into the Ryze earlier on, although I think that is the matchup that's the most up in the air. Smash and Korea, so far, playing it relatively well. This one could also be a little dicey. As level 2's gained, and we did see the all-in angle from our last Lucian player, Lazyfield, earlier today.
Yeah, Slayer playing that well, dashing to the side and not forward. That's the thing with Lucian. You're burst focused, you have a lot of power around your cooldowns, but you have to respect the sustained DPS of Zeri and the triple combat summoners. So you never want to just dash in and load everything and then have no way of disengaging. It's the quick little burst trades that are going to put you ahead in this matchup until you chunk Smash down to potentially look for a kill. Level 6 is where the Zeri Yuumi in general gets a ton of power. So every advantage you get now needs to put you in a position where you're not just going to get bowled over by those level 6 power spikes that come through.
Yep, that's the classic all-in angle. We did see that was an answer to the Ashe Seraphine as well, or at least it was an attempted one until it worked here in the LCK. You could see that the all-in angle for Zeri makes some sense. We do have Wolf on the space as well, so if any certification is necessary, we do have that one available. But right now, they are just getting pressured out, and Slayer's aggression that we were talking about before paying off in this matchup especially, as Lucid will spot Raptor here as the Q just barely misses. Good reaction there from Raptor to stop moving forward. And Lucid is now just going to bail towards the top scuttle instead, as now Slayer dashing forward one more time. There is some big shielding, and the barrier utilized there from Smash just to get him out of there safely. I say safely, there is a jungler now coming on over as Kellen just hunting, see where they are backing, and Raptor will get a flag to drop on top of them. Thankfully, Prowling Projectile is going to be there to deny any further engage, but they do stop them from recalling, which is huge.
Stop the back and just buying more time. Pretty big, I will say, though. The cannon minion will help to buy a bit of time with home guards as well. We don't see Smash going for the dash over terrain yet.
Yeah, Korea as well just stuck around.
Oh, there it is. He slid over a bit there. So cannon missed in range of that melee minion. So you just missed the cannon.
Yep, and Korea did also get it as well.
Oh.
How? What? Okay, so in the last series, we had the Nautilus that was able to hit things through walls, and Korea was able to not hit things through a champion. That is so unfair.
What does it mean?
I think it means something Bud isn't in this game.
Yep.
The rotund man himself really being exemplified, even though his presence isn't actually with us on the Rift right now. Wow, Korea absolutely robbed, but that's fine. Just barely missing is now Smash. Also,
a tough spot there.
Yeah, not exactly with the wave in a phenomenal spot. So they do want to be able to get this crash if they can. And Slayer might have an opportunity here as Smash has to dash towards the wall. That means that he can't actually get over it, as there is the bottom block and the flash out from Smash. This bottom lane is going so well for being K4X.
Yeah, so much damage done there, and I feel like the first... Oh, and the recall stop.
No.
I feel like the first buys have just amplified this. You know, you have the scout slingshot into a coalfields. It just feels... this item feels so uninspiring.
Yeah. It's a bit of David and Goliath type stuff, isn't it? And David not doing so good in this particular matchup, as Lucid just wants to farm his own jungle. Showmaker is also looking for the Rise, and we'll be able to find him there, as he does a lot of damage. Not sure who managed to get the Grump, because I was distracted by Metal Tibbers trying to do what he can.
Looks like a Malphite skin.
I know, it's very cool. I've always been a bit of a fan of the Mecha Annie. Also didn't mind that set of TFT with the Mecha Annie version. It was pretty cool.
Was that the one where you had 3 mech champions and they built like a Giga Mech together?
I don't think it was that one, but that one was also fun.
Yeah.
And now there's just a Mighty Mech, which is just a unit in the current set. I think it's kind of strange. It is very big though, which is kind of fun. Lucid just going to be taking a crab here on this top side. DK with a slight advantage as far as money is concerned, because their solo lanes are doing very well. We've been watching only this bottom lane, which is making me feel like DK don't have any tempo vibes, but they do. Because elsewhere, Shio and Showmaker doing just fine. And Slayer, once again, finding a great opportunity for an engage. At least Korea is able to do a little bit back there.
Yep. To get the Oblivion Orb early buy from Kellen, so able to help out with that Grievous Wounds onto the Zeri, obviously for the Yuumi healing.
Yep.
Does delay that first item spike. We often see from the Milio when he's going towards... what's that item called? The...
Essence Reaver?
Echoes of Helia.
Ah, the Echoes of Helia. I thought you were talking about Slayer's items. That's my bad. Oh no! Extendo Beam wouldn't extend far enough. And he went for it, but just a little bit too late. What a shame. And it would have actually extended far enough. That's why it's called Extendo Beam.
It does go pretty far.
Mm-hmm. All right, looking for a level 6. I don't know whether they quite get it off this wave, as they do stop Kellen's back, and now Smash might have an opportunity here. But still, Fire Kick comes on down. It's going to buy a little bit of space as they had to sidestep it. Slayer did hit level 6 himself, and is now making his way back towards the lane with the Sheen in pocket. So everything kind of quiet on Summoner's Rift right now. You saw Raptor trying to go for something, and is actually going to find this control ward here. Lucid misses another Q. But Raptor I can now move towards this bottom side as Smash dashes through that wall.
Yeah, Smash really wants to get a recall off here, get another buy, and then with the level 6 coming through, you actually have the power to find it 2-2.
Flash stun comes on in. This is that setup you were talking about, and oh my goodness, Lucid just kicks him in the face.
It's that easy. Not much kind of play there. Vikla holding the flash, knowing if he flashed, he would just die anyway.
Really unfortunate time for Raptor to go for Dragon as well.
Yeah.
As Lucid's like, wow, my Q did so much damage.
So Smash gets to recall and pick up a pickaxe. Items feel a little bit better. Level 6 hit by Smash. Crip won't be too far away. That's the point where this 2v2 feels a bit better for them. Now, it's going to be a contest over this Dragon.
Yeah, this is exactly what Zeri wants. Hits level 6 and then has an opportunity to go for a skirmish. There is the Dragon secure. Can the Zeri get some kills? The answer is absolutely. The exhaust from Career is fantastic, but the Zeri will be going down. The flash in from Lucid, but the fire kick is phenomenal from Kellen, who will save his AD carry. Showmaker carrying the cat on a book to safety here, but they do lose the Zeri and Lucid goes down.
Smash just ends up completely in the mixer there in the middle, and Lucid not able to finish off the Lucian thanks to some great peel from Kellen. Ends up being a favorable fight for BNK FearX. The fact they got the Dragon as well is icing on the cake.
Oh, it really is. Nicholas still struggling a little bit here.
This was pretty straightforward. There's just limited counterplay. He goes to cast a spell on the wave, stun comes in. If you didn't flash immediately after the Sonic Wave, you're getting kicked and you die, and I think the right decision was to hold the flash. Now here, I think this isn't played super well by D+, because Smash kind of just dashes in and ends up in the middle of 3 and takes so much damage. And even though he gets a kill, losing that throughput of the Zeri makes a big difference.
Yeah, I do think that Vikla played it really well. But we're going to have a look at it from Slayer's perspective. Kill the Zeri. Damn. Really nicely done.
Yep.
Oh, Kellen is being so annoying, by the way. He's just fire kicking them every time they want to go home.
He's trying to be irritating and succeeding so far.
And doing that against a Yuumi must feel very cathartic.
Yeah, Smash down Flash just a second ago, so presumably was forced by Slayer and Kellen and got him down to that low HP.
Huge deal as well is that he wasn't able to get the kill onto Raptor in that last engage. As we have a look at the replay picture-in-picture, it's just another good 2v2. And Slayer is really stepping up this game. Oh, they get the final chapter out as well.
Yeah, having a ton of pressure. And, you know, I was feeling like the level 6 will be a big spike for Smash and Career to get back in this game. Not really finding the windows for it yet. Kind of kept under the thumb of this Lucian Milio.
Yep. Certainly some more opportunities for some mid-game fights. It's obviously where Zeri really wants to thrive. Might require some of the assistance from their teammates to make that happen. With Showmaker Shiu on pretty good standing at the moment, just based on farm. Lucid also looking to sneak in here and make something happen. They know that Raptor is there as well, so this has to be very delicately done. As there's the ward kick, and the Q comes down. Slayer, nothing he can do. Kellen not able to keep him alive that time. And now, that's the kill going over to the Zeri, and Smash feeling a whole lot better.
Yep, kill in the bag for Zeri. Really nice to pick up on. Lucid laying in wait for that kick. Finds a great angle there. And it puts D+ back firmly in the lead.
Yep.
Only Slayer who has a lead over Smash, and when you're playing Zeri Yuumi, I think being a little bit behind is kind of expected.
Yeah, you're not really feeling too worried about it. It is the mid to late game that you really want to perform. As Clear just runs out of friends there towards the top side. Will not be in too much trouble though. Does have the Iceborne Gauntlet already completed. And Vikla with a bit of a shove here in this mid. Let's have a look at this one more time as Lucid just snuck into the brush and Slayer didn't know. Yeah,
waited for Kellen to be a little bit away as well, so the Mega Fire Kick couldn't really disrupt anything.
Well, pretty excellently played there by D+. They will be able to at least help Smash find a little bit more money. Does have his static shiv done. It's been a while since I've seen that as a first pickable item.
Well, you'll be able to look forward to next patch.
Yay! Are they going to be playing more center? As there's a flash away, but the Q is very comfortable there from Lucid. Vikla wants to get into the Realm Warp, and he will be successful. As Smash now trying to fight against Slayer one more time, but the culling eaten by the Yuumi. Very nicely done. Still, they are going to win out on that one, and they still have Kellen's ulti left up and available. Raptor moves in. Ooh, doesn't want to give up his Raptors. He is Raptor after all, but does have to do so. All right, Slayer finding an Ardent Blaze here towards Smash.
Oh, Lucid. A lot of Sonic Waves missed.
Yeah, and then the Blast Cone for the ultimate disengage. And Raptor knows exactly where this Lee Sin is going, even if the Lee Sin doesn't.
I think having full information, though, in this situation on the other jungler does give a lot more freedom for the lanes to be a bit more aggressive. But the problem is, in the top lane, it's Jason to Casante's.
Yeah, she is like, yes, I will be more aggressive. And Clear seems okay with that, although the Hammer Boot pretty well timed.
Yeah, we're seeing Aftershock as well from Clear. You know, often see that in the range matchups where you can't get the full value of Grasp. It does give you an insane amount of tankiness in those team fights.
Oh, Slayer does find a nice little double tap. As Lucid roaming on down, will be seen on this ward. BNK still with a pretty good health position,
That was
though, in
dangerous
this
for
lane.
Kellen, using the Mega Fire Kick as he got hit by a Sonic Wave, but Lucid doesn't find an angle.
Oh, they want to try and contest this. Obviously, this will be Double Dragon for BNK FearX. Could be a huge deal, depending on what our soul is going to be. But it's not going to be Chemtech this game. As Slayer, man, he's really starting to put in some work with this Essence Reaver done. And there's the final chapter coming on through. Slayer might be in a little bit of trouble there as Lucid comes on forward looking for Raptor, does a lot of damage and avoids that Q, but Smash has like 200 health, so I don't know whether they're going to be able to go for too much with just a Lee Sin.
You keep seeing Lucid trying to find these angles in. It's just so tricky when your bot lane's getting pushed away, zoned out this heavily.
Oh, Tibbers. Turret going to take that 50 gold. That is a rich turret.
Okay, Lucid fishing again.
Yeah, sitting on some wards that are turned off.
So much time spent on the bot side of the map right now, just trying to keep his bot lane in a good position. Now Lucid might be in trouble himself.
Yeah, finishes his quest as he wanders over towards the Lee Sin. Good trade there from Shiu by the looks of things. There's another fire kick is interrupting backs. Smelio, man, every single time. Just denying them from going home. And Raptor is just going to walk up to this dragon. Lucid did go home, so they're not interested in contesting this by the looks. We'll have to see exactly what the soul is going to be after Raptor does take this one down.
Is he sure make it?
Oh, Hextech, my goodness.
Okay, that's a pretty good one. Altogether, so puts a lot of pressure on a D+ now. Even though they have a goal lead, I just feel like the fact that the enemy team has 2 dragons and how this bot lane's been playing out.
Yeah, I feel like we've been
awesome
watching this bot lane so much that it feels like DK's behind.
Yeah.
But they also did just lose a turret.
So
and
they are
first
now
turret
dead
blood,
even.
yeah, will completely mitigate that that early game issue. Once again, a dash in from Slayer.
I think this is really where Lucian shines. I mean, initially it was like the Lucian Nami who did this. Oh,
Okay, Raptor does have the assistance of Vikla here as well, who brought an army of minions towards his bottom lane, but Lucid's making his way in. The kick is going to get the knock up on Vikla at the same time. Man, that was sexy. As there is Shiu, he flashed, managed to get that shock blast to land, and then immediately starts going home. Beautifully played to come back into this part of the game for D+, moving to 1,000 gold lead as Smash, taking some abuse underneath the turret once again, but won't be going down. And even Shiu is able to make it back up to pick up this wave in the top lane.
slick kick, honestly, coming through there. And you see that there's this mounting pressure mid lane from the Lucian. This is what Lucian kind of does best when paired with, normally it's Nami, but with the Milio. Just keeps that pressure up mid and allows you to really control that area of the map. Problem is, if you end up losing the skirmishes anyway because of some nice moves from the rest of the team, the Lucian impact just feels a little bit negated. That kick angle,
Man, that was very, very cute.
found it perfectly. Guaranteed the 2 kills would go over to them.
Was that like a hammer flash as well from Shiu at the same time to get the displacement?
Like, yeah.
So it was like the double displacement maneuver. It was almost like the Jace insect first so that the Lee Sin could finish the insect. Very cool stuff. It's Lucid going to look for another one. Does catch him before that dash came on through as the ulti through from the Zeri isn't going to do a whole lot as the disengage was already happening.
Again, more pressure mounting onto BNK FearX, I feel. That flash being burnt on Slayer now puts a target on his head. And it's 1,100 gold. So even though we have those 2 dragons for BNK FearX, the threat of the soul, 2 dragons is kind of meaningless unless you actually get the soul. You know, the individual dragon's not amounting to a ton right now. Second item coming through for Smash, so his build coming along nicely.
And there's not a massive amount of range on BNK FearX, so I feel like Rundown's Hurricane is a pretty powerful one.
It is an item we don't see that much anymore.
No, I feel like Static is another one. Feels like Senna builds it. That's where I see it. Not as much on the Zeri as it used to be. But as you were talking about, got to get used to it. As Lucid now finishes his second item as well. Pretty offensive Lee Sin build as well. Obviously, it's not like an offensive. It is doing damage. It's doing damage. Like, I'm not offended by it.
There are builds you are offended by, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
namely Jhin. Doesn't matter what items he builds. It's just Jhin. That's about it. I think you quite often feel like you're relatively often somewhat offended by builds.
Yeah. There's been certain ones which have really upset
Mainly
me.
Ziggs ones. Huni as well. Welcome back, Huni, for yesterday. But he is also the guy that really made a career about being offended by builds.
Yep. Especially Rumble.
Yes. In fact, exclusively Rumble. I don't think he cares about any other champion. All right. Well, it has slowed down somewhat as we tick closer and closer to 20 minutes into this game. 1 minute on the Dragon, though, and I think that's where things are going to start heating up on the Rift.
And I think it kind of comes down to each team's win conditions. The fact there's a flashless Lucian on the side of being KFRX. If I'm D+, I'm definitely targeting that every day. Oh, clear.
Okay. They are trying to kill a Cassante. That does take a little bit of work here as the Aftershock does wear off. He goes all out, and I think that's going to leave him all out of options. Yeah, I don't think he had too many to begin with.
Ended
Holds
up
on to the
next to
flash.
the tower, so he just gets knocked under it, even if he didn't die before the tower hit connected. But it's just a good gank setup from Showmaker, moving into the side lane as if to pick up the wave, but just sees an opportunity, punishes clear, and then we'll just continue applying pressure there against the Rise. Now we do see a Herald mid.
Yeah,
Does take out the tower.
Yeah, it's going to be turret going down, so another one over to BNK FureX to help them mitigate some of this gold advantage.
Notably didn't use it as a combat Herald. I feel like there's an argument for that, given that the extra gold for the tower, you're not really going to get, everyone's not going to get to spend it right before the dragon fight starts.
Unless they can go for more of this, right? Because Slayer and Kellen have been winning the all-ins, and so maybe without the turret, it does mean that DK do get pushed very far back. And they might be able to get better dragon control that way as Lucid goes in, gets the kick through clear, and the bear just drops down on top of Raptor. Dash Cannon comes on through. The Melio tries to help him out, but it's the Zeri that finishes off Raptor. Lucid does go down. That's a phenomenal fire kick. My God, Kellen. He has been pressing that button so good as Clear kind of face plants there momentarily, and she was still looking for more, but of course, Kellen is always there, able to help out, and I think well-deserved picks up the kill.
Yeah, some great peel coming through to keep the Lucian alive. And D+, even though the initial fight looks like a good start, end up losing out with the jungler and their top laner going down.
Man, they still have so much vision, though. Look at this on this bottom side. Let's have a look at this fight one more time, though.
So we end up getting this kick angle, and the focus here is kill the enemy jungler, Dragon is free. Raptor ends up just ulting the Zeri to keep it trapped. But we have this kite away here, and that mega fire kick from Kellen buying time for Slayer to disengage. And then you kind of just trap between a rock and a hard place here for Shiwu.
And a bear as well. And Kellen just throws some fireball at him and takes him down. Slayer moving towards 3 items, still has that slight gold lead, but it's going to mean less and less as this game goes on, and it hasn't really extended, especially thanks to Smash picking up that kill in the last fight. Drake still hasn't been taken yet as Raptor does move on back down there. Looks like Smash should be able to deal with this wave though, and Lucid is in the vicinity. There's a Jason in the top lane, teleport in hand. As Showmaker, he runs into, never mind, doesn't actually run into Clear, as Clear is going to miss for now. This Drake down very low, but Lucid might be able to get in here. It's going to be a 50-50 as there is the steal. He just walks up and presses Smite. All right, who knew that it was that easy as Lucid went for an angle. The Cataclysm is going to be abandoned by everyone. The kick is once again just gorgeous from Lucid. Oh, just take my POM already, my friend. They kill the Zeri, then it doesn't seem to matter. There's a Pyroblast waiting for the Cassante, and now Vikla is just running for the hills. They only lose Smash, and they kill 4.
I was wondering with the Lee Sin pick coming in, I was like, maybe, because it's Fearless, you're saving like the Xin Zhao and the Pantheon, both picks that Lucid's been excellent on. And when I saw it come through, I was like, maybe that's the angle. I think they just...
I think he's just really good.
Lucid is cracked on Lee Sin, and we're seeing it in front of us. He got so much value in that fight. Obviously derailing BFX's dragon stacking, giving them a sizable lead now as well for D+.
Yeah, 4,000 is no mean feat. Let's have a look at this one more time from Lucid's perspective.
Also,
The old
also
walk in
sign
and
up
smite it
for
at
like-
62.
Yeah, it was so close
Okay.
there. Moves forward,
얘들아 나 자세 뭐하죠?
and then this angle here.
얘들아 여기
Such a high value kick.
Yep. He
Yeah, the
flashed
waddle,
to make
yeah,
sure that he
waddle,
kills the
waddle.
Lucian.
얘들아 바론은
Baron? Baron?
확인
And I think they said no. We can't do Baron.
Is there a hint to that? Ah, yeah. It's still on the map, so.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah, I did some sleuth work. I figured it out.
that's good.
Thank you.
Solid.
I'm known for my ability to look at a minimap in anything other than actually playing the game.
It is harder. And have you seen what people have done where like they get like a second monitor and they're like,
An entire minimap?
yeah, and make it like really large in terms of size?
Isn't it annoying using Realm Warp to try and catch a Zeri?
Isn't it annoying trying to catch a Zeri?
Yeah, good point.
Honestly,
I feel like Realm Warp especially.
I haven't missed Zeri. And the fact that it's Zeri Yumi, so you can just position aggressively with your support and know that you're both getting out.
Yep.
This is why we often see the point-and-click CC into picks like Yunara to Zeri. You know, we often had Nautilus and Vi as that lockdown, that point-and-click. But here, the only point-and-click lockdown you have is Cassante ult, which you have to be right next to her for.
Yep.
Or Rise route, which you have to prep. So not the easiest time of getting this, holding the Zeri in place.
And sometimes if you press the all out onto the Zeri as well, she just goes back through the wall the way you came, and you can't do that.
Yeah.
It is very funny, though. I like it when there's also a bard, because then you can, like, if you do go over the wall, then you can set up the portal to go back through the wall again. Goodness me, it's a lot of back and forth. As Slayer does now have his 3-item spike smash, still looking for his Infinity Edge. And Showmaker very close to 3 items himself. We're looking to try and actualize relatively soon for Vikler as well.
Yeah,
so the Rise is going to get strong.
If Smash gets 4 items, I think that's where you're really online. There is a decent amount of armor coming through on the enemy team that you have to kind of cut through, and sometimes Zeri can struggle cutting through the bulk of a front line. I say that it's mostly only Clear who has that armor.
Oh, there's the IE.
Big spike.
All right, 4,000 gold is the lead here for DK. And they have actually mitigated Slayer's advantage that he's had throughout this entire game. That is now gone. Slight lead for Smash. And they are just picking up waves here in this mid lane. It might be that the Baron is going to be worth a look in, but in a minute and a half, we will have that second Hextech Dragon. All right, Raptor going to get missed by another Q. Let's see what Lucid can get done here as Smash trying to stand his ground, but the culling will come on down. Immediate flash to get out of the Cataclysm. The kick is going to be there, but Lucid is just dead. Teleport is going to come on through. The flash in from Showmaker as he's looking to take down Kellen, but Kellen survives. The Lucian will be going down as now Career is just a cat on a book under a tower, and Clear has too much armor. And down he will go. Nothing he can do about that one, and it's only the solo lanes left here for DK.
They're looking towards Baron, but they don't have the DPS for the Lucian. There's some low health bars here. A shock blast from Shiwu could just kill Kellen outright.
Well, that's why Kellen is nowhere near the Baron pit. I don't blame him for it.
He's off
trying to find some, trying to find some pot shots. Kellen will make his way back as Tibbers gets into the mix. They're looking for the turn angle. And the stun was there onto Clear. Doesn't find the Q as Dash Cannon gets out of the knockup from Showmaker. Wants to get a little bit more, but Clear comes on over. Another stun is prepped nicely. And he sidesteps the knockup once again. Showmaker just utilizing the walk strategy. Doesn't even have Swifties.
Yeah, just the walk coming in clutch. Does get the extra movement speed from the Ionians upgraded when you hit them with
Oh,
spells.
that's true.
So there's that, but just dodging away from everything, drawing them away from the Baron and finding that angle. Here, Smash oversteps a little bit, gets focused down by that culling. Lucy gets exploded in the mixer there. And in the ensuing fight, just the flash route from Vikler. We talked about there being not that much point-and-click CC for the Zeri. That is one way to shut that pick down.
Throw a Cassante at it. That is going to be the Drake secured by D+, though, in the aftermath. And so really well salvaged, you have to say, by Shiu and Showmaker.
It feels rough that you won that fight, and then because you went for the Baron, weren't really in a position to finish it off, you end up going down in terms of objectives compared to prior to that great fight from BNK4X.
Yeah, still an opportunity here as Showmaker throws the bear early. He's underneath this very low turret, but should still be taken down, and there it is. Tibbers gets mad, but I think Tibbers is just 50 gold, although I think that was actually not secured.
Oh, they were fishing for the collapse there. You saw Lucid and
Yeah, final chapter comes in. There's the ulti from Smash as well, as Slayer is just going to kill him. The kick comes around. I don't know how he bent the Sonic Wave, but Lucid's able to get immediate revenge. But I think, we hear you, Slayer.
Yeah, finding the all-in on Smash, even through all this extra sustain available, able to cut down the enemy Zeri. We'll see that. This top lane play is pretty straightforward. At this point, the Rise does enough damage to just burst through with a little bit of help to hold them in place. But it's this fight in the mid lane. Even with that healing for the final chapter coming out, Smash is like, hey, maybe I can win the sustain fight. Not even close, but it's saved again by Lucid.
Kellen desperately tried to get in front of that Q. Could just barely not make it there. Third item done for Lucid as well. Death's Dance complete.
Actualizer done for Vikla.
Oh, that's a huge deal.
A lot of power, and the goal difference isn't that big. Dragons are even. 1.2k gold lead for D+. This game is still very close. You can see the gold graph has been a little bit all over the place in terms of D+ gold advantage.
And they have kind of had one throughout this entire game. Smash comes on over to take down some vision around the Baron pit. D+ pretty good at holding on to an area. You don't really want to face check any of these champions.
It's a very squishy comp though, so I think they're just not really concerned about the Baron.
Yeah,
just
shock
looking
blast
for an angle, hits another Sonic Wave.
Certainly a fair bit of non-committal options thrown out. Like, you land a Q, Lucy gets to decide whether he wants to go in. Shock Blasts as well can just soften up the members of BNK4X. The problem is Kellen exists to add that extra layer of sustain, and it's working out pretty well for them, as we can see. Still 2.5 minutes on the Dragon, so being on the southern side of the map isn't necessarily helping out. DK retain control around the Baron.
It's been such a tense game.
It really has. And I really wasn't expecting it to be, right? This is BNK4X swapping out 2 players.
And especially with how integral, the thing is with mid is I had Vikla before, but with how integral Diablo has been, wasn't sure how it'd be with Slayer, coming in, but been doing some solid damage this game, even if he has died maybe a bit more than he'd hoped to.
Yep.
They're still fishing so much, so, well, Slayer gets chunked.
Yeah, this is a decent amount of damage. Fire Kick is going to get avoided there by Smash as well, who's still just trying to find the burst fire towards BNK4X. Can be difficult with the lower range, but gets tagged, and then Smash thinks that is his opportunity to go. Slayer is still at very low health though, and Clear goes in and just gets wiped out. Lucer's the one that locks that one down, and Slayer somehow stays alive, and Hex gates out of there. But the fight is an absolute disaster, and DK roll over them.
Yeah, you see Slayer running away from this Annie. Kellen does not have anywhere to go easily. He's like a Sonic Wave.
Lucid, can I offer you some warm hugs, Mr. Former teammate? And the answer's yes, but I'm going to kill you anyway. And now, D+ Kia are just going to break open the base. They will be able to take this inhibitor turret. Slayer is still there. These death timers, 15 seconds on Raptor. Can they just win the game? That is the big question, as there is the flash in from Shiu and just smashes Slayer against the Nexus, and that is the ace completed with only 3 seconds left on this job, and these Nexus turrets not long for the world. And D+ Kia, it was a very intense game, but they will be able to take game 1 with their Zeri Yuumi composition. Give it to them as best they could. And shout outs to Slayer, man. That is a pretty decent debut, even in the loss.
I think he did the best he could. Had a lot of pressure, early on and in the mid lane, but just hard, really. Not seeing a huge amount of presence, I feel like, from Vikla in this game.
애매하긴 하다, 근데 딱히.
야, 자리 밀려.
나 이러다 자르반 쪽.
야, 빨리.
천천히.
천천히. 버킹.
야, 좋은데. 천천히.
우리 미드.
자, 천천히 봐줄게요.
미드라인.
여기 싸워. 미드라인 왔어.
이거 애니.
야, 보자. 야, 박자. 박자. 좋아. 들어가도 돼. 이겨.
좋아.
해봐. 이겨. 무조건 이겨. 무조건 이겨. 야 금자 아래 루전. 아 저거 안 돼. 미드 가면.
얘들아 미드 가자.